Marlon Wayans and Tyreek Withers star in what is one of the worst films of 2025. Him, from the basis of an overall film, was a very choppy storyline even going into it. Now, with not many movies opening this week, it was one of those films that will eventually gravitate an audience because there's nothing else to see. But it is a movie that you spend an hour and a half in thinking, what the hell did I just watch? Now, when you look at this film, you have two different tales. Cameron Cade is an up-and-coming prospect, getting ready for the draft, everything in front of him. And then you have Isaiah White, who is the GOAT of the league. And what you really have is a weird, sadistic style of training mixed in with sacrifice. And when you look at the sacrifice, it's not about what you're willing to sacrifice, but it is you are the sacrifice. And there is no other way to put that into perspective. Now, if you are looking for a football tale, this is not it. The only football that you see in this movie is training. But what you really see is they try to push this narrative of a cult football team that is working to find a successor for Isaiah. And that's what you really see. But what you don't really have in this film is a good, solid foundation for a storyline. Now, the acting in the film is good. I am going to give it that because I believed both of the characters, what they were portraying on the screen. But this film, from the basis of a football/horror movie, was just pathetic. This was one of those movies where you are going to go see it just to see what it's about, but you leave thinking that it is one of the worst movies you've ever seen. Now, you really don't have a backstory. You have a kid watching a football game at the beginning, and you ultimately understand who he becomes. But then you start to see that there's this mythological cult that is going on, and you start to feel lost. Now, along with the acting, I will give it credit. The one thing that it does a good job of is breaking down day by day. So you understand, I guess, from a perspective of what is actually taking place and why it is. But what you don't really have in this film is the buildup. And I think when you don't have that buildup and you're just expected to identify and understand every little situation, it falls flat. Now, like I said, if you think that this is going to be a football movie and you're going to see egos involved, the egos are there. The football is not. And I think this film, I'm almost at a loss of words, because leaving tonight, I am more confused about why this film was put out than the entire film as a whole. And when you're looking for something to enjoy and something that is going to bring you some fearful enjoyment, or you're going to look for a good storyline, this is not it. This movie was atrocious from start to finish. And I think that is where you start to wonder, especially in September, what are these movies that are being put out? You have good actors. You have, I guess, a basis of what it should be. But then it goes completely against everything. Now, I will say, the final straw for me, even after sitting there for an hour and a half, was the ending. I think the ending of this movie is one of the worst I have ever seen. There is nothing scary about this film, even though it is dubbed as a horror film. What I really look at this movie is an ego. It's all ego. And when you have an hour and a half of two egos going back and forth, and you don't really have a basis of a storyline, you don't really have anything else involved in this film, it falls very flat. Now, overall rating. For me, Him is a 1 out of 5. This is a top 2 worst movie I have seen of the year. The only thing that comes into comparison with this film as far as overall rating is The Surfer. The Surfer was atrocious too. And when it comes to movies and you're spending money and you're bringing these actors in and you're trying to hope that something is thrown against the wall and it sticks, Him is not it. Him is terrible from start to finish. And when I do reviews, I always look at whether or not people agree or disagree. When I leave the theaters, I'm always going to look at what are the ratings. The ratings right now are already at a 38%. Roger Ebert has this at a 0.5. And so that is a telltale sign of this movie. It is one of those, this is a streaming service movie. Do not waste your time to go see it. It is not enjoyable. The storyline falls very flat. No matter how good the acting is, it is not good. So for me, Him is a 1 out of 5. It is out now. I guess if you want to go see it, go take the time to go see it. But it is not a movie that I recommend. So thank you all for watching. I wish I could say that this was better than it was. Stay tuned for another review this weekend. Make sure to hit the subscribe button as we approach 800. And I will talk to you all later.